Good morning. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Ben here with Backyard. We are back today on this 6-foot tall wood pressure treated privacy fence project. Today we got all the posts set. We set all these to height. We set the top of these to height so that we can run our rail directly flush with the top. So I'd like to just show you guys a little bit of how we do this. First off, let's go over what tools we've got for this job. So to hang all these rails and eventually put pickets on, we got a couple drills, we got a couple circular saws, we got a sawzall. We use 3-inch deck screws for putting all these rails up. We don't nail the rails up. I prefer screws for sure. Got a radio, a couple odds and ends, level, and that's pretty much going to get us through. But for the most part, we start with our top rail. It's important to remember, come in a little closer maybe, Dad. It's important to remember to get your height set from the start, like I showed you guys with the string line in the last video. These are set at about 70 inches. We're gonna set this fence up a bit higher. It doesn't matter if the pickets are off the ground a little bit. We're going for maximum privacy. So we're gonna take these about up to 76 inches. So the picket will sit no higher than 6 inches from the top of the post, which will also be where the rail is. Once you get a little bit over 6 inches, they tend to start to curl on you. You don't want to go higher than 6 inches. And then you want a nice even space for your 3 rails. On a 6-foot fence, you want 3 2x4 rails. Don't use cheap stringers, use a nice full-size 2x4. So 6 inches above, hopefully about 6 inches off the ground. And then you want nice even spaces in between each 2x4 runner. So the way that we generally do that, we'll take a 2x4, find this distance that this needs to be. It's usually right around 25 inches for us. We'll cut this, we'll set the first 2x4 up all the way down, put the spacer in, put the second one in, put the spacer in, put the third one in, and it keeps just a real fluid line. You don't have to do any measuring. All you do is just run them down the line. I'll take a video of us doing that as we go so you can see, but it's a real simple method if you do it the right way. I'll see you guys. Just barely. We can perfect this. No one will ever see this, but you know who does see this? God. Okay guys, we have made it to the promised land. Finally get to hang some pickets. I like to take a picket, and although I have the measurements in my head, I like to put this to the test on the fence, go in different areas, see how the ground moves, and see what kind of gap I'm gonna have underneath. What I'm looking to do is find my distance that I wanna get from the top of the rail to the top of the picket. I like to stay 4 to 6 inches. Above 6 inches, this board is gonna warp over the top. 6 inches is the safe zone. You might be able to go 7. I've seen guys do like 12, and that is just a total nightmare. Once you get to like 3, it's a little short, but let's see what we're working with here. Right here about 6 inches, you can see we've got a pretty significant gap. This is in the front yard where I would say maximizing privacy is better. The ground comes up in the back where they might want to keep a dog. But even this is a little tall. I'd say maybe 4.5 to 5 there. You can see how much the ground moves here. We're at 4 inches here and we're on the ground. So you can see just in that short amount of distance how much difference there can be in the ground. And you got to keep this in mind as you go, because you don't want to get into a situation where you're way too high or you're way too low and you got to dig a trench all the way. You want to keep these boards off the ground probably an inch or two at least to keep them from rotting out at the bottom. They are pressure treated, but they're still going to rot if they're on the ground. Right here, we're at 4. That's about a perfect gap to me. Just when you can get the toe of your boot underneath the fence, that's where I like to be. Okay guys, we've got our string set. Set the first end picket here. I like to wrap the ends in this situation so you don't see the framing through the front. It's a nice clean corner. It just gives it a more professional look. We get this into place at the height that we want. Put a nail at the top and run our string. I like to take an end point. I'm probably, let's see, 1, 2, 6 or 7 sections down. I've set another picket for our end point. You can run this as long as you want, but I like to go probably 6, 7 sections so you can get a tight string, it's not drooping in the middle, and then you're gonna get a really straight line there. So all that we do here now as we start picketing, and I'll show you, this one's set and it's level, and we just go down the line, and you just wanna shimmy that up, bring that in a little closer, Dad, show them. You just take this up, I just shimmy it until you just see a little movement on that line and you know it's touching. And we do 2 nails. I like to do staggered nails. I'll do one here, just so it keeps it, it's impossible to get them straight looking down, so I stagger them and it looks better to the eye. If you guys are curious what type of nails we're using, these are 1 3/4 ring shank, 15 degrees. You want to get exterior. These are galvanized. This is pressure treated. If you are using, if you're building cedar fence, you're going to want to use stainless steel. But we use a Boss Stitch coil nailer. We screw all the rails in, but we use the nails for the pickets. And I have not had any issues with these really popping out too bad. The ring shank holds it in nicely. Some guys swear by screwing them all in, but it's going to take you a week to build this fence if you screw every single one. I'm not saying I don't ever do it, but this is a proven way and it works just fine. So I'll start doing some picketing. You guys can kind of see how that flows. Thank you. We're back. The fence is done. The pickets are on. Came out pretty good. This is how we do our nails. Step down. It creates a really nice repetitive look without having to be perfect. Big dip across the back. And they're gonna have to bring in some fill dirt to fill that in, but a lot of hills in the back, but we moved it around as best that we could. We got rails and pickets up today in I'm not sure how long that took us.
It was a good day.
9 to 4?
8:30.
8:30 to about 4 o'clock. Some of the neighbors were chatting with us, but still some cleanup to do in this yard. But overall, for being in an industrial park, it's starting to feel like home. Maybe we'll move in.